The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle, Matt, Dave, the SuperPlex Brothers! Hey everybody, welcome once again to the SuperPlex Brothers podcast. This time it's episode 4, which means we're on the Super Nintendo now.
Yes it does.
Anyway, I'm Dave.
I'm Matt.
And, well...
Quiet week.
Yeah, quiet week in a lot of ways. Before we get started with the actual wrestling shows, WWE.com released an article yesterday that Jim Ross has officially announced his retirement.
Or his firing, in this case.
Yeah, it's not really sure, or no one's really sure if it's an actual firing or if it's just Jim Ross is actually retiring. But a little background to this. At the 2K14 event during the SummerSlam Access, there was a little thing, synopsium, and a bunch of people were there, namely Ric Flair, who was pissed drunk. And apparently he was acting like an ass. Jim Ross was drunk too, if I remember correctly. But a lot of people said that management was pissed off at Ross because he didn't have control over the situation, despite the fact that 2K didn't seem to have a problem with it. In fact, they said they enjoyed it from what I understand.
Yeah, they said they had no issue with it and they thought it made for a good conference. So,
but whether or not there's any truth in this as a means of firing Jim Ross, we don't know. But the fact is, he's retiring from WWE.
Sad.
And that is depressing.
No more surprise JR appearances at WrestleMania for commentary.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously he wasn't doing much anymore anyway, so we all kind of saw the day coming. But at the same time, you know, it's Jim Ross, who is arguably the greatest play-by-play announcer in all of pro wrestling. A lot of people say he's one of the best in sports in general, even though wrestling is sports entertainment, but still.
Commentators are commentators regardless of what sport they're in.
Indeed. So, I guess we just kind of wanted to give a shout out to Jim Ross. You know, good God Almighty, he's broken in half. Probably one of the best calls ever. 1998 King of the Ring. Hell in a Cell match between Mick Foley or Mankind and The Undertaker. You got a favorite call ever?
It'd probably be that one too. Yeah. I mean, that one's probably his most famous.
That one, or probably...
Stone Cold! Stone Cold! Stone Cold!
Yeah, I'm thinking another one that I would probably call my favorite is during the Jeff Hardy-Undertaker ladder match on that one Raw.
Oh, yeah. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
Definitely a great call. There's something about Jim Ross that really... Like, he knows how to put emotion into people a lot more than, say, Michael Cole does.
Or Jerry Lawler.
Well, Jerry Lawler's color, I mean, that's a completely different thing. You know, Michael Cole is the play-by-play guy, and don't get me wrong, Michael Cole has had his moments. Honestly,
Not
Michael
this
Cole...
way, damn it!
I'm actually thinking more along the lines of Michael Cole's greatest calls being when Mankind won his first WWF Championship. That was probably Michael Cole's highlight as a commentator, because he really did it. He really did bring out his A game for that one. And when Eddie Guerrero won the WWE Championship at No Way Out, that was another great Michael Cole moment. But we're not talking about Michael Cole. We're talking about Jim Ross. And we just want to say thanks for all the years, Jim. You definitely have been one of the leading voices in wrestling for many people for many years. And I hope you enjoy retirement.
Yes, thank you, JR.
Indeed. And with that, on with SmackDown. Daniel Bryan looks like a bitch. On with Raw.
Nicely done. Nice segue there.
Seriously, we have a lot to go over today. We can't be bothered to talk about SmackDown. It's SmackDown.
If it was a good show, I would say let's talk about it. But as he said, it's just Bryan looks like a bitch. Moving on.
I really don't remember much that happened. I know I really should get show notes, but we'd be here all day. So we're going to move on to Raw. And Raw opens with Edge, which is a nice surprise. You know, WWE happened to be in Canada.
Yep.
Honestly, I figured that he would just be coming out to promote his new show on Sci-Fi.
Which they did do, but
They
it wasn't
did
the
do that,
focus of the promo, thank God.
but it wasn't just Edge coming out and saying, "Hey, it's my new show, watch it." They actually had a cutting edge segment, and it was pretty awesome. Edge said that he was asked by Triple H to come out to do a cutting edge segment, and unfortunately for him, not with his best friend Christian, who was originally his brother, but continuity, who cares about that?
Right.
But instead, he was there to have a good reunion with Randy Orton and Rated RKO, which
I love Rated RKO. I wouldn't have objected to that.
I like Rated RKO, but let's be honest, it was a limited thing.
Oh yeah, it wasn't meant to be
You
long.
can't really do much with that. And he says instead he's going to have Daniel Bryan on the cutting edge, and they pretty much promote the match, and Triple H comes out and they start shit talking each other, and it was actually pretty funny. Triple H was definitely the highlight of this Raw.
Oh yeah, he was super. And I would say it's like every week now that he's super healing it up, but he like super healed it up in this one.
He definitely brought out his A game. As a, I said this in the beginning that I had my doubts about Triple H in this position, but I'm kind of coming around.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't get in the ring, I am perfectly okay with Triple H in this position.
He told Edge he'd never do a dime.
Yeah, Edge said that that Daniel Bryan was good for business, and that Triple H was wrong about a few guys: Chris Jericho, John Cena, Herp the Durr, and Edge. And Triple H goes, "Yeah, I was wrong about Jericho and Cena, but I was right about you. You never drew a dime, kid." Which is funny, because they were using Edge to promote this Raw, so.
Yeah, doesn't draw a dime, but it's the focus of all of the commercials. But hey, what do we know? We don't know what's best for business.
But anyway, Orton comes out and starts poking fun at Edge for his broken neck, and basically says that Edge is jealous of Orton because Orton's a 10-time champion, and Edge is like, "Dude, I'm an 11-time champion. Back the fuck off."
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H was like, "Well, since I can't do anything to you, how about I do things to the people you love?" And here I thought they were going to bring out Lita and rape her on television, but no. Instead, the Shield throw Christian out on the ramp, and he's beaten and battered, and obviously this is just a means to write out Christian for a little while because he's injured again. Christian needs to just fucking retire already.
Which I don't want him to do that either, but at this point I think his body is basically...
He's getting Henry tier on injury level.
Yeah. It's time for them both to just kind of take a little step back and think, do I want to end up injuring myself permanently like Edge, or should I call it quits while they're still healthy?
I mean, sure, it wasn't quite an injury like a regular injury. It was just a concussion, but still.
Yeah, he's injury prone right now.
He's very injury prone.
Kennedy level, almost.
I wouldn't go that far. So anyway, when we come back from commercial, Edge is in the back, and the Shield stands between Edge and Triple H. Actually, no, Triple H and Stephanie were in the back, and Edge kind of busts into the office.
Yeah.
And tells him to have the doctors clear him because he wants to beat the shit out of people.
Mm-hmm. Which, I really wish that could happen.
But we know that
it never will, but...
It never will, unfortunately. Edge probably has one spear left in him, but honestly, I don't want him to risk it.
Right.
Edge was able to get out while he was still young and still had, dignity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to say that they don't have dignity, but at the same time, Edge can walk away.
Yeah.
Rather than, say, Draws, who is in a wheelchair for life.
Yeah.
You remember, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But, so anyway, Triple H then cuts one of the best heel promos in a long time. Then tells Edge that he owns Toronto and that he needs to get the fuck out of his city. Triple H
Yeah.
was getting major heel heat here, and it was awesome. I definitely approve. And then he has the Shield escort him out. Edge just turns and walks away.
Because he can't do anything else.
Yep.
And then this is probably from this point onwards, personally, I started to dislike Raw. Like the opening was so strong, I had really high hopes.
So we then move on to Kofi Kingston versus Curtis Axel. And the build-up for this match was that on SmackDown, Kofi beat Curtis Axel clean for whatever reason. Ooga booga, where the mid-card title's at. I guess they're going to just give the belt to Kofi in order to give them an excuse to not defend the Intercontinental title on Night of Champions.
Well, it's
Or
too late for that.
They're probably going to give it to him on SmackDown or something. I don't know. They'll figure something out.
Oh.
Hopefully. So anyway, match starts, and basically it's a Curtis Axel match and a Kofi Kingston match. That's all you really need to know. It ends when Curtis Axel gets himself disqualified for not breaking when the referee told him to. He was kicking Kofi Kingston in the corner, and he wouldn't stop. After the match, Paul Heyman comes to the ring to calm down Axel, and he says that can't happen at Night of Champions. Otherwise, CM Punk will kick the shit out of him. The announcers talk about Cody Rhodes, and we get a bunch of hype videos about Goldust.
We got a bunch of.
They were building up Goldust like he was like the greatest thing to ever happen to wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like the be-all, end-all of professional wrestling, and that he was like this major ass kicker. I mean, they built him up like he was like a 20-time world champion.
They really did.
So anyway, we then see Curtis Axel and a WWE referee helping Paul Heyman off the floor in a hallway backstage. They basically made it look like Paul Heyman slipped on some water or something and hurt himself. And he goes to the trainer's room, and, you know, it's a typical, you know, oh my god, I'm hurt kind of scene. We all know he's faking it, but let's be honest. You know?
Yep.
So anyway, we get another fucking promo, video package of last week's bullshit when Big Show faced Daniel Bryan. Moving on. Big Show's backstage, and all of a sudden, Booker T, walks in, and I guess Booker T's new gimmick is that he just walks in and talks to people. Booker T says he knows what happened last week was bad and knows that, you know, everything sucks and all that shit, but he's got to keep his mind on his career for his family. So Booker T's job now, or Booker T's gimmick, is that he's telling people, you got to think about what's best for business. Whatever. Nobody cares. Booker T basically tells Big Show to be professional, and then he walks off. We then get a promo of the Wyatt family, which, yay, Wyatt family, which builds into the next match, which is Dolph Ziggler versus the Wyatt family. Not quite a squash, but an obvious win for Bray Wyatt.
And you know what? That match should have been so much better.
I mean, it was good. It was good. I think the reason why it fell flat, because the match itself was fine. But I think the reason...
Not really, because I mean, Ziggler looked like shit. Ziggler was fighting for... He's a former World Heavyweight Champion. He was just in, like, the main events for, you know, Smackdowns, B-Title, and all that shit.
But I guess the idea is to build up the fact that Bray Wyatt is an unstoppable monster.
Yeah, but Dolph Ziggler probably, you know, I don't know if he's done something, if he's in CM Punk's doghouse or whatever.
CM Punk's doghouse. Jesus Christ.
But I don't think Ziggler was the guy to feed the Wyatt just yet.
Well, word is that I guess Ziggler was putting shit on Twitter, but I don't know how true that is. I mean, it was basically a squash, but a little longer than the average squash. But, you know, building up Wyatt still. They really need to do something with Wyatt. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Bray Wyatt. But, They really need to do something with him. More video packages of Goldust. And back in the ring, we see Curtis Axel coming out and helping Paul Heyman to the ring.
With Damien Sandow's brother.
Yes, a doctor who looks like Damien Sandow. And we called him Damien Sandow's brother. So Paul Heyman comes out with crutches and says that, first off, Paul Heyman, he has to shit on the fans to get some heat. Says that he's not a fan of socialized medicine. And he doesn't believe in the Canadian healthcare system. Because socialism is something that we use to get cheap heat in Canada. I'm not even going to bring my politics into this. But... Anyway. So basically it's your typical him trying to weasel out of the match. And Brad Maddox, of all people, comes out and basically plays the face in this situation, which... is weird. But he basically says that in order for Paul Heyman to get out of the match, he has to be looked at by one of WWE's doctors. Can't be his own. So the guy comes out and basically says Paul Heyman's going to be fine. And then CM Punk comes out and interrupts everything and beats the shit out of the doctor with a kendo stick. Which is funny because the fans were chanting for the doctor to get killed.
Yes, it was a bit much.
Ravenous Canadians and their love of socialized medicine. So anyway, moving on. We get a Divas match, I guess. Moving on again. We get another squash match between R-Truth and Alberto Del Rio. It's a squash. Nothing to really worry about.
Yep.
So, after commercial break, we have Antonio Cesaro and Zeb Coulter in the ring. And Zeb Coulter cuts an awesome promo on Canadians. And lo and behold, Antonio Cesaro's opponent for the night is a returning Santino Marella.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Santino got a huge pop.
Because he's Canadian.
Well,
That's the only reason.
Well, that's not the only reason. Santino was over like a motherfucker when he was around.
Why did he leave?
I don't know. Was it injury?
Maybe he just... I think they just ran out of stuff for him and he just kind of fell off. I don't know.
Who the hell knows? But anyway, Antonio Cesaro and Zeb Coulter. I wish it was Antonio Cesaro versus Zeb Coulter. But it was Antonio versus Santino, and they had a pretty good match for the most part. I thought it was going to, have a better ending, but... The highlight of this match is
Giant Swinger!
Yes, Antonio Cesaro busts out a giant swing, and he was going on for at least 20 seconds.
It was awesome.
It was awesome, and the crowd ate that shit up so easily. They loved it. But Santino Marella beat Antonio Cesaro with a Cobra.
And I believe you had some words to say about
I was pissed off like a motherfucker.
I should go pull up his rant on Skype right now about it.
Please do.
If I can find it. Let's see here. Alright, so while I look that up, you can,
give my own thoughts. Yeah. First off...
What? Found it. I found it.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you for fucking real? You better fucking run, Santino. Seriously, what the fuck? This Raw was starting off pretty good, and this fucking ruined it. Fuck these stupid fucking douchebag kids. You deserve to be bullied. For fuck's sake, this is horseshit. I'm fucking mad. Fuck this company.
If you're wondering what I'm talking about the kids being bullied, they had a Be a Star commercial at the time, and I was just talking mad shit just because I was so pissed off.
I will go on a similar rant later on.
No, seriously though, I had a right to be pissed off. Santino Marella was basically the jobber of the WWE. Like, he was the jobber to the jobbers. Like, kayfabe-wise, he was easily one of the weakest members of the roster. And he comes back and beats Antonio Cesaro in 2 minutes. It was horse shit. But I digress. We get Damien Sandow versus The Miz. Moving on.
This burial of the Miz will never end.
Yeah, Damien Sandow won. Renee Young is backstage with Goldust and says that it's no secret he's been the screw-up of the family. He's messed up all his chances here, but Cody got fired. But Cody getting fired is ridiculous, and he says Triple H is throwing his weight around and embarrassing the Rhodes family, and it's totally not cool. Goldust says after tonight, Orton will never forget the name of. Orton will never forget the name of. Oh, yeah. He was going to say Orton. He'll never forget the name of Goldust, but Triple H appears and cuts him off. Triple H asks him how he's doing, and Triple H talks about the pressure of the match and wishes Goldust good luck. We then get the match, and I'm not going to lie, this was a pretty good match.
It was a good match. It was probably, like, match quality wise, I would say this was the best match on Raw.
Yeah, honestly, you know what? Goldust has always been a pretty good wrestler.
I was surprised he clicked so well with Orton, though.
Goldust is one of those people that's kind of underrated as a wrestler. You know, you never think of him as a really good wrestler. You just think of him as kind of average, but no, he's pretty good. We saw a great spot in the match, too, where Goldust reverses an RKO into the crossroads, and the fans ate that shit up. It was pretty fucking awesome, and we were kind of thinking, oh man, this is going to be an awesome feel-good moment. But nope, Orton gets up, RKO's him the end.
Yep. Which was disappointing, but at the same time, you know, we all saw it coming.
And it makes sense for the storyline.
Yep.
I mean, it did kind of suck to see all that build-up for Goldust just to have it kind of turn out like that, but, you know, it happens.
Yep.
So after the match, we see Goldust in the back. No. After the match, Randy Orton is standing over Goldust. And he says that his dreams of saving Cody's career were shattered, just like Daniel Bryan's dreams at Night of Champions, and more building up for the Night of Champions match. Then, after the break, we see Goldust in the backstage crying his eyes out. So I guess he must have just had a conversation with the Big Show. And Stephanie McMahon comes up and goes full-on bitch mode. You know, at first she comes off like she's going to be caring and nurturing, like, oh, Goldust, it's going to be okay. But no, she went full-on bitch mode. And it was pretty awesome. It's been a while since we've seen that side of Stephanie. You know, I mean, we kind of got a hint of it last week, or not last week, but you know, no, it was last week. We kind of got a hint of that last week with the whole Big Show promo thing, but this was full on. This wasn't like subtle. This was just straight up.
Yeah.
So it was pretty awesome. We come back to arguably the single most important storyline match in all of wrestling. Ryback versus Rob Van Dam in a battle of the singlets.
Damn it.
Seriously. They have the airbrush singlet, and it's funny to me. Ricardo Rodriguez comes out and does his introduction, and yeah. Rob Van Dam wins by DQ. ADR then comes out and cuts a promo. Stephanie McMahon is backstage with the Big Show. She says he can't lay a hand on the Shield tonight, and if he does, he will be fired. You know, despite the ironclad contract. But... oh yeah, because Big Show was announced to be in Daniel Bryan's corner tonight in the match. So she says that he has a special seat for Show tonight. Stephanie walks off and Show gets upset. He grabs a large monitor and slams it to the ground. It was an old TV. Seriously. All he did was break an old TV.
Big-ass tube TV.
Like, why did they have that TV arbitrarily sitting in the back? So anyway, the main event is Daniel Bryan versus Dean Ambrose. And that was a pretty good back and forth match. Daniel Bryan won. With a roll-up out of nowhere. That's favorite ending.
Fucking hate roll-ups.
But, in all honesty, it was a pretty good match. You know. But that's not the important part. After the match, Ambrose gets tossed out onto Rollins and Reigns. Randy Orton's music hits, and out comes the champion running to the ring. Bryan stops him with a suicide dive up to the floor, and they start brawling at ringside. The Shield join in and help Orton beat Bryan down. However, Big Show has finally had enough, and he goes for the steel chair. However, they stop him because they threaten to fire him. And Triple H needs to have Big Show put his feelings aside and be a professional. And he wants him to go back into the ring and to knock Bryan out. And Triple H. Big Show starts stalling again.
And oh my god, this is where I started to get mad.
Big Show's stalling again. Randy Orton comes into the ring and picks up Daniel Bryan's carcass and is holding him up and says, "Knock him out!" Just fucking breaking balls. And then Big Show just, I don't know, he just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I found this is where my rant happened. I'm gonna read my rant too, just because.
Okay.
Alright. Brian's back on his fucking back. Jesus Christ, enough. Fuck off, Big Show. Fuck off. Take the Shield and all of you go do your own goddamn storyline. Let Brian fight Orton without bullshit. Fucking hell, I've had enough of this storyline. Enough. Fuck this company. Fuck creative. Fuck Triple H. And this is shitty TV.
However, despite all of this, after Randy Orton lets Daniel Bryan back down, I guess he starts arguing with Big Show. And while Randy Orton's back is turned, Daniel Bryan gets back up and hits him with that giant knee. And lays Randy Orton out. And the show ends with Daniel Bryan standing on top and giving a bunch of yes chants. And I guess the Shield just kind of fucked off somewhere.
Which, you have to wonder, is it too late? They waited till the Go Home Raw for Night of Champions to show that Bryan had even a little bit of a chance.
It basically... I get what they were trying to establish. They were basically trying to establish that without Randy Orton's backup, Randy Orton is going to lose. However, they've made it perfectly clear that Triple H runs WWE tighter than fucking Hitler ran Germany.
Also, just here's something to think about. I literally just saw this on my Facebook feed. In CM Punk's 2011 pipe bomb, he said, "Soon this company will be taken over by Vince's idiotic daughter and doofus son-in-law." 2 years later, look at what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, but,
Shitty storylines involving Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. He called it.
But anyway. As far as this Raw goes, it's an upper mid-card Raw. It had its ups and downs, but I think overall...
No, that's not what we agreed on.
Oh, all right.
Don't oversell the shitty Raw.
It wasn't that shitty.
Yes, it was. We said we were going to finally bring in that fifth balance to make it a proper rating scale.
Yes, we're introducing a new rating to the rating scale. We now have mid-card, which is exactly in between.
The Kofi Kingston tier.
Indeed. It's a mid-card Raw.
It's a lower mid-card for me. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I should have.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's that. And, I guess since it is the go-home show tonight of Champions, we can talk about that for a little bit. So, at Night of Champions, we have some matches. I'm just going to say right now, my predictions for this are really short.
Mine are basically the same.
Basically, we think that all the male champions are going to keep their titles.
Especially like the Shield and Orton, because it would make no sense for them to lose their titles considering their involvement in this storyline.
Indeed. And honestly, I think the Divas Championship is going to go to somebody else.
Which sucks, and it shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but I think it is for the sake of Total Divas. Which is complete bullshit, but...
We all saw it coming. Honestly.
We all saw it coming, and nobody expected them to get the ratings that they did.
Yeah, and the second they started getting like consecutive good ratings, it was only a matter of time before they did this. And considering that they're filming for like the second half of their season or whatever, it's gonna be revolving around the Divas Championship. So
did you know that there's a mid-season finale, whatever the fuck that is?
Oh, once again, that's a common thing on TV.
It still makes no sense. If it's not a finale, then it's not a finale.
It's not what gives them time to prepare the second half of the season, like production wise and stuff.
It still makes no fucking sense. But anyway, honestly, it could go to any one of them. Actually, no, that's not true. I could see it going to Brie Bella or Natalia. I don't see it going to Naomi.
No.
Honestly, I'd say if we're gonna go like in a ranking system, I think Brie's most likely gonna get it.
Because of Herder,
Total Divas.
Fiddle Divas, and the fact that she's banging. I forgot which one Bree's banging.
Daniel Bryan.
She's banging Daniel Bryan, so
Which is best for business.
this is best for business. We'll get a bunch of mini Daniel Bryans wrestling in the future.
Indeed. But anyway, that's our Night of Champions predictions. It's not very long.
Oh yeah,
Not
CM
very
Punk's
in-depth.
going over.
Oh yeah, CM Punk's going over. That's about the end of it. Not very in depth, but you know,
It's gonna be a predictable show. Now it might not be a bad show, but with the way all these storylines are progressing at the pace they're progressing, we're not getting any big surprises this time around.
Indeed. And with that, it's time to move on to NXT, which, my God, this was a pretty bad week of NXT.
It was a stinker, and I don't know if it's talent's fault or the booking's fault, or maybe it's a bit of both.
I mean, last week was kind of a slow week, but this one was just bad.
Every single match was, we'll probably talk about the individual matches in general, but they're all jobber status, every single one of them.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we're really not gonna go too in depth because there's not a lot to go in depth with.
Right. The opening tag team match had potential.
Yes, it had potential.
Because it had Enzo Amore, which is instant, hope.
Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Alexander Rusev and Scott Dawson.
Yep.
And, of course, coming out with Oui Oui Sylvester Lefort. But Enzo cuts an awesome promo and the crowd eats that shit up.
Soft?
Sylvester Lefort comes out and cuts a promo and they're booing the shit out of him. And Alexander Rusev and Scott Dawson come out with that fucking awesome Titantron of Sylvester Lefort's face. That thing needs to come up to the main show when they finally bring those two up. I also have to say, we had William Regal on commentary this time.
Which I was excited for at first.
But honestly, Regal was kind of off this week.
He even said so. Like 3,000 times.
He was just trying way too hard to put people over that shouldn't have been put over. Fucking Dawson. Or no. Yeah, Scott Dawson. Who, by the way, the other commentator is Tony Dawson. But, no relation. But he was trying to put over the fucking redneck like he was the greatest technical wrestler to ever live. And he's fucking boring.
Yep.
He's not even a good technical wrestler. I mean, I don't know, maybe if you put him in a match with the right guy, he might come out, looking pretty good. But for the most part, he wasn't that great. Rusev is the better wrestler of the team.
Yeah, that says a lot.
But anyway, it's pretty much a generic tag match. You had a couple of moments where the crowd was eating up, and Enzo Amore's antics. But basically what happens is Rusev and Dawson are beating the shit out of Enzo throughout most of the match. And they go to hit a double team move when the ref calls for a disqualification. And me and Matt were just sitting there like, what?
I mean, I see why it happened because he was in the ring for a 5 count, like both guys for that team.
Yeah, but that ending looked bad.
It looked awful. Yeah.
It looked botched. Even the fans were chanting, restart the match.
Yep.
That was just terrible. And it was funny enough, it was like an omen to the rest of the show.
Yes.
Next match is Paige versus Sasha Banks.
Based Paige didn't turn out very based.
Yeah, and funny enough, Sasha Banks is basically Alicia Fox's twin.
Yes. But this
But
match was Sasha with submissions everywhere.
not good submissions.
Nope, boring submissions.
Unlike that Emma and Summer Rae match that we saw two
Yeah.
weeks ago, which was pretty good.
Like, Paige didn't get to do anything. She got like 3 offensive moves in, I think. Maybe the whole match.
Yeah, and honestly, this match was a sleeper. This was
Yep.
the piss break. And that says a lot.
It was probably more of a shit break because of how long it was, but...
Yeah, this match kind of sucked.
It's a shame because I really, really, really want to see Paige in a good match because I've heard so many good things about her. And I haven't really had the chance to go back and look at some of her other stuff. But
Watch her matches with Summer Rae.
Okay, those are her good matches.
Those are good matches. A lot of her early matches are pretty good too.
They didn't. Her and Sasha didn't click.
No, they had
all.
no chemistry. I mean, don't get me wrong. At least Sasha Banks tries.
Yeah.
She tries. I'll give her that. Honestly, she's already better than a lot of the other divas on the roster already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not saying a lot, mind you, but at least she tries. It's just that her and Paige didn't click.
Yep. And that happens.
And that was just, I don't know if it was just that particular match or if it was the two of them or what, but that match sucked. We then, after the match, see Sasha Banks crying. And Paige is trying to console her and, good spot and all that. It was a good match, and all that shit. And Sasha Banks ain't having it. And she attacks Paige from behind and
Nobody cared.
busts out her inner fist of the North Star with, bunch of
Attack
fast-ass
on
slaps. And then hits Paige with the Terminus, Damien Sandow's finisher.
She should probably already consider looking at new finisher.
After that match, we go to the back and see Summer Rae talking to Sasha Banks, and they have their big lesbian moment.
And Sasha can't act. And Summer Rae's not too much better. But I think if sometimes it looked like if Summer Rae was trying hard not to laugh at Sasha.
Yeah. I mean, Sasha Banks was like, I feel good.
Yeah, and Summer Rae's kind of like, she wouldn't look at her in the eye. I noticed that. Like, she wouldn't actually look at her because she probably would have started laughing, which I probably would have as well because she's terrible.
Indeed. You know what? I think before the Divas match, though, we had a CJ Parker promo.
We also had a Bo Dallas promo.
Yeah. CJ Parker needs to be fired.
And Tyler Breeze needs to get pushed to the moon.
Indeed. Tyler Breeze attacked CJ Parker, and it was awesome. He gave himself a selfie. Which sounds way more sexual than it needs to.
Oh, God, no.
But anyway, Bo Dallas came out and cut a promo, and he looked like he didn't know what he was doing out there.
Not even
He really did, which I know some people were thinking, oh, that's just part of his gimmick. No, he just looked lost. And he basically said that Sami Zayn looks up to Bo Dallas, that Bo Dallas was his mentor. And the fans were shitting all over this. And shitting all over Bo Dallas, and it's a Bo Dallas promo. He can't talk, he can't do anything. Fire him too.
First give the belt to Zayn, and then
Fire
even
Bo
send
Dallas.
Bo Dallas up to the main roster like they usually do.
How the hell IRS has 2 kids, and one of them gets all the fucking talent, and they push the other one? I mean, don't get me wrong, Bray's getting a push in his own right, but at the same time,
Right.
So anyway, we then move on to the third match. What do you need to know about this match? Arm wrenches.
Oh my God.
Xavier Woods versus Leo Kruger. Oh my God.
And you know what? Dave had me pretty hyped for this match. He was telling me how both guys are pretty good.
They normally are. I mean, Leo Kruger is not. I did say Leo Kruger is not so great in the ring, but I like his gimmick. But Xavier Woods is great, and he brought nothing. They both brought nothing but fucking arm wrenches. What the hell?
Yep. And people will defend this. They will say, oh, it's just how he tries to take out the high-flying moves. That's.
And Regal. Fucking Regal, man. What the fuck? He's trying to put over this match so hard.
I think they're probably telling him to.
It was just so boring. Oh my god. It wasn't even a bad match. It was a boring match. It was a bad match too, but at the same time, I've seen worse. But nothing happened. It was rest hold for 20 minutes.
Yep, it was awful. And that was the end of the show, too.
That was the end of the show, by the way. Yeah.
Woods
that was
won.
The end of the show.
Xavier Woods won, but...
Mm-hmm.
That's
wrestling for this week.
That's wrestling.
And with that, we're going to move on to video games.
And with that, we move on to video games. And, you're going to hear this a lot, but it's another slow week. Now, things did happen, but probably leading up until the PS4 and Xbox One launches in November, it's probably going to be relatively slow.
Indeed.
But we're going to start off with Pokemon news, because we're getting closer and closer to X and Y launching the beginning of October. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Bunches of new Pokemon, and even the new type chart that shows us what Fairy is weak and strong against.
I didn't see that completely yet. What is Fairy weak to? I know it's I know from what I did read, it's not strong against fire.
Yeah, fire is resistant to Fairy type. But honestly, one of the biggest things is that not only is it super effective against dragon types, but it's immune to their attacks.
Ooh.
Completely immune. And poison and steel are super effective against Fairy.
That is awesome in my book. I'm a huge fan of poison, and I like to see that there are more things that poison is strong against.
However, steel's been nerfed.
How?
Steel has lost resistance to dark and ghost type.
Why?
Don't know, but that's what the chart says. The chart says that it lost this resistance.
That's gonna fuck a lot of things up.
Oh yeah, Steel, it gained something nice, but it took a pretty big hit.
That's seriously gonna fuck up the appeal of a lot of Pokemon. I'm looking at Metagross.
Scizor?
Yeah, I'm looking at Pokemon though that lost a weakness to Dark type because of that, like Metagross and Bronzong or whatever the hell its name is in Gen 4, the Psychic Steel types.
Yep.
You basically just gave that a third weakness, and you lost the appeal of having those Pokemon.
So, GG.
I'm not going to lie, there are a lot of things about Gen 6 that I'm not liking. A lot of things about Gen 6 that I'm really starting to not like. I'm still going to play the game, but the more I hear about it, the more I'm thinking, my god, they're ruining this series.
They are making a lot of mistakes this generation. I do agree with that. I don't know how they're gonna. Everything could turn out okay.
Let's mention it now. Mega Garchomp, because a Pokemon that was already tournament banned for being too broken really needed to become even more broken.
You're right.
Seriously, what are they thinking? This is just continuing my thoughts on Mega Evolutions that they're a bad idea. And now Mewtwo gets another one too?
Mewtwo X is a Psychic Fighting type, and it's exclusive to Pokemon X. The other one, the other Mega Mewtwo, is exclusive to Y. It's called Mega Mewtwo Y. I don't think either of them are that good, but design-wise, I think X looks a bit cooler. But
and what is Y's type? It's just straight up Psychic?
Straight up Psychic.
Boy.
Yeah.
Makes no fucking sense to me. It's just starting to piss me off. We did see some new Pokemon, though. Actual new Pokemon.
Yes,
also,
including starter evolutions.
Yes, starter evolutions, which I did see them. I'm not gonna lie, the fire one looks the best, and
Yep.
the grass one looks the worst.
Yep, and the water type just looks like a bigger version of its base form.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it doesn't look stupid like Chespin's evolution.
Yes, it looks like a fucking giant ball.
And they're really leading towards the fire one getting to be a fire psychic because it learns Psycho Cut in its second stage. And Chespin's evolution learns Mud Shot, I think, I want to say. And then the
Yeah,
water one learns Bounce.
which water flying for a frog makes no sense.
I mean, again, there's like, quote unquote flying frogs, but they're really just frogs that jump.
Yeah.
But hey.
Not that anybody's going to use those starters anyway, because you're going to get the Kanto starters, so.
Oh yeah, I meant to keep. I didn't really finish the fairy chart thing. Jeez, I'm all over the place today. Here we go. Fairy is super effective against fighting, dark, and dragon, and not
Because fighting needs another weakness, too.
and not effective on fire, poison, or steel. It also states that it is weak to poison and steel while resists fighting, dark, and bug, and once again immune to dragon.
So, it's strong against dark, too?
Yeah.
Good! Let's make one legendary that we're promoting completely stronger against the other legendary that we're promoting.
Yep. Essentially, I think they're gonna have. They either need to make some very big changes to Fairy type by Gen 7 because this cannot stay this way. Fairy type is OP. Way too OP.
I don't get it. What the fuck happened? What?
What are they
mean,
smoking? They're ruining Pokemon with this Fairy type. I hate to say it.
But you know what the fucked up part is? We're both gonna play this game, and we're both gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, but
That's
they're
the
still
fucked up
making.
part.
Yeah, it is. But they're still making bad choices.
I don't get it. Why Mega Garchomp? Why?
Well, if that list we saw is any indication, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah, we did see a list of potential Mega Pokemon. Mega Alakazam, Mega Metagross, Mega Salamence, Mega Dragonite. Just all of the starters are supposed to get Mega Evolutions, which does make sense.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's like Pokemon they plan on doing Mega Evolutions for, and they're not all in Gen 6.
Well, I know back during the Pokemon Direct, one of the guys, I don't remember which one. I don't know if it was Awada or the other guys, but one of them did say that they did want to see every single Pokemon get a Mega Evolution.
Oh God.
Which
I would say by Gen 7 then. If they take that whole list and put it in Gen 6, then by Gen 7 we're gonna have.
if every Pokemon gets a Mega Evolution, I think that's going to be the end of Pokemon. Because they find a way to make them super broken, and then what's the point to still play?
Right. I think it's gonna have to come to the point where they're gonna have to say no to competitive Mega Pokemon if they haven't already.
They really do.
Because it might be fun for casual battles against
Or
people.
just the main game.
Yeah, but for competitive like World Championships, unless there's an honest to god way to like stop them from Mega Evolving like in battle, it's too OP, and it's gonna break the scene.
Indeed. And, of course, we found out that Mega Garchomp's ability is one that boosts ground moves. That's what it does. I think it boosts ground moves during sandstorms.
Oh, good.
It just raises its attack.
Good.
Which is the ability that already exists in the game, and regular Garchomp can have it. Which is bad enough.
Right? Now, this is a guarantee you're gonna have it kind of deal.
Yeah. But I guess we should talk about some of the actual new Pokemon that were introduced.
Yes.
There was this one Pokemon that looked pretty interesting. It was a ground dragon type, and it looked like a T-Rex.
Those are the new fossils.
That's the new fossil?
That one and the Nessie looking thing, the little pink dragon, the blue dragon with the weird Thing on top, those are the new fossils.
What type is that?
Um, fuck, hold on.
Fairy dragon. Let's just make it entirely
The
okay.
T-Rex is rock dragon,
Oh, it's rock dragon. I thought it was ground dragon.
and the other one is rock and ice.
That's interesting. Rock and ice. That's not one you see all that much.
Yeah.
Although that thing is gonna get fucking stomped by steel.
Yep.
That thing stands no chance against steel types.
I hope that T-Rex can evolve into something that's a lot more badass, though. Because it looks pretty cool right now, but I think we could have a pretty legit looking evolution for it.
Although rock and dragon is something that hasn't been done yet, and honestly, the combination seems interesting.
Yeah.
We know it's going to be a hard hitter, though, because rock types are generally already hard hitters, plus dragon types.
The only thing is that
it's going to not do really much against
fairy will be an issue just because of the part dragon thing.
Yeah, but you still have the part rock, which will still be a hard hitter. Hopefully they do some kind of balance to fairies that they make them like psychics were, glass cannons, and not super defensive.
Yeah. But let's see. There's also the psychic cat thing that has different appearances based on gender.
Which is always interesting to see.
But not only that though, the move pool varies by gender.
Ooh.
It says the male is more of a supporter type, while the female is more of an attacker.
Which, I mean, not to sound sexist, but usually that kind of thing is reversed. But it's glad to see that Japan's being progressive about this.
Yes. There's also a white dog.
A white dog?
A white dog. It was actually in the Pokemon Direct thing. We didn't get its name or anything. But it's just a normal type. It has a new ability called Fur Coat, which reduces physical damage. And you can actually customize its appearance.
Huh. That's pretty cool. Is there anything else to really talk about with Pokemon?
There's that last one that was revealed today. Pyroar. The evolution of, oh god, what's that thing called?
Litleo?
Litleo, yes. And it's a fire normal type. It can learn the move Echoed Voice, which I already forgot what that does. But oh yeah, it raises its attack like every turn.
Oh.
But I think that's it for Pokemon for now. But yeah, there is actually a lot more news than I thought there was for Pokemon this week.
Indeed.
Because Coro leaks, those monthly things. But this is the last Coro leak before X and Y are released next month, so there's probably not going to be another big dump of information unless we get another Pokemon Direct.
Which I suppose is possible.
Yeah, I'll probably say maybe the week before I can see them doing it, like one last, here's some new things.
Indeed.
But who knows?
And with that, I guess we could talk about the PS4.
Yeah, we got 2 bits of news. One that's not news, but something that's been kind of blown up all of a sudden because of Machinima. But we'll go with a small thing first. Jack Shenton has revealed that Sony is actually holding back their stock of PS4s a bit to combat shortages for the holiday season, which is smart. That's very smart. I just kind of hope that they actually don't end up having any shortages or anything. But anyway, the other thing is that people have suddenly remembered that HDCP is a thing, which is a defensive mechanism basically for Blu-ray discs. It's not just a thing for the PS4. This is for Blu-rays. It's for games and movies. What it does is make it to where you can't rip footage, like audio and video, using HDMI. And people are flipping the fuck out, saying, fuck Sony, fuck their console, if I can't capture straight to YouTube, then fuck you, all this shit. And I'm just like, first off, everyone who's blowing up about this, I hate to break this to you because you're not going to think you're overreacting, but you are. The PS3 has HDCP protection. This isn't a new thing at all.
And let's be honest, the source for this was Machinima, and all they said was a reliable source, which, let's go back to wrestling for a minute, is what we call LOL dirt sheets.
Yes, until Sony outright says, no, you can't upload anything to YouTube through HDMI. But even then, you can't get mad because you can stream to Twitch TV and upload to YouTube from Twitch TV.
The only thing that people are saying that might be a legitimate concern is that if you upload PS4 footage to YouTube, that Sony would try to take it down. However, they have not confirmed any kind of business plan to do this. They have not confirmed anything. Nothing has been confirmed. In fact, in the video that Machinima released, they even had a representative say that you can upload to YouTube.
Yes, but the thing is that they're afraid. They're saying that Sony would maybe take it down if you use the HDCP bypass, which is illegal. It is illegal. But they're saying maybe they could go after you if you do that. And honestly, if they do, you know what? Honestly, they're not in the wrong. If you bypass their legal system for protecting the Blu-ray discs and they catch you and you're making a shitload of money off of it, if they decide to get mad at you, well, you know what? Tough shit. Now, it's not a good business practice, don't get me wrong, but you couldn't get mad at them when you're breaking the law.
Well,
Because there are ways to go around it. If you choose to take the illegal way and they come after you, that's your own fault. Because that's just you being fucking a little bitch you can't handle uploading from Twitch. So.
well, I can kind of understand where people are coming from on that front, though, because what if you don't have or want a Twitch account?
Well, tough shit.
Well,
But HDCP is a thing, and it's not only going to be for the PS4. The Xbox One uses Blu-rays too.
although people are trying to put this on the same pedestal as the Xbox One stuff,
It's not, because this honestly isn't a deal breaker.
which
It's
is honestly
a games console. This has
and
nothing to do
honestly,
with games.
it's not the same thing because one, nothing is official. Absolutely nothing has been officially stated by the company. Nothing. Whereas with Xbox One, everything was officially stated by the company.
Yes, and then turned around. Because they
Indeed.
fucked up.
So, I mean, until we have an official confirmation about this, or we see like Sony taking action against people who upload to YouTube Direct, which personally I do think is not that big of a deal if people want to do that.
Well, first off, if they were going to do it, they would have started doing it already because people are already using the HDCP bypass on the PlayStation 3. And they're open about it.
Yeah,
So if they're not going after you using the PS3, why are they going to go after you if you're using the PS4?
Indeed. But I can understand if that is what's happened. If that is what they were going to do, I can understand being pissed off about it. But at the same time, nothing's confirmed, and until something is confirmed, I can't demonize Sony one way or the other.
And you know there are people that we know, even we're not going to name names because that's just rude, but they're outright attacking Sony, and it's happening as we record this podcast.
Indeed.
And I think it's got to stop because you people need to understand Sony hasn't said anything. And even if they did, if you honestly won't get the PS4 because you can't capture footage, you're not a gamer. You're just wanting to make fucking money off other people's work. If you're a gamer, you should want to get a console for the games and for the console's features are a bonus. But if you honestly want to say fuck this, fuck Infamous, fuck Killzone, fuck Knack, fuck Sony, fuck the PS4, because you can't capture footage through HDMI, then you never wanted a PS4 for the right reasons to begin with, in my opinion. And that's the harsh truth. I'm gonna come off like an asshole, but I can't think of any other way to think about this. When people demonize Sony this much over something this small and want to boycott the console for that, you're going a bit too far.
You good now?
What?
You let all that rage out?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
Honestly,
do you think that that's the right reason to boycott a console? That's the big question.
I mean,
compared to the Xbox One stuff, especially.
Comparing it to the Xbox One stuff is wrong, but my issue is nothing is confirmed to be true, and whether or not it is true is irrelevant because the fact is nothing is confirmed. If it turned out to be true, I would be pissed off about it. but I don't know if that would be a deal breaker for buying the console. I mean, I don't really want to bring my politics into this, but I personally think that copyright is bullshit. But without going into details, I mean, it's still not a deal breaker for me to not buy the console. And I really just, I can't form an opinion. I cannot form an opinion, or at the very least, I cannot demonize a company without official stuff being said. Or if when the thing comes out and people upload PS4 footage to YouTube without uploading it through Facebook or Twitch, that Sony takes action against them. Until something actually happens or something is actually confirmed beyond a reliable source, then I just can't demonize them or praise them one way or the other.
Which, as I said, it's already happening with the PS3. The HDCP stuff is not being taken down, so I think everyone needs to just... Everyone who's attacking Sony for this needs to look at what we actually know to be true, and that's the fact that right now they don't give a fuck about the PS3 stuff, so...
Indeed. Or everybody just needs to take a chill pill.
Yeah, I'll admit, I get mad because I don't understand why people are, people who call themselves gamers, I don't understand why they're so upset over, and boycotting a console over this, but I digress.
Well, there are a lot of people, though, for example, who are boycotting Nintendo, because when Nintendo went after gamers.
Yeah, but that was also confirmed by Nintendo to be true.
Yeah, but you just said earlier that, well, that's kind of your own fault because you're breaking the law.
Well, that's for if you bypass HDCP. Nintendo doesn't use that. Nintendo doesn't have HDCP.
No, but they have copyright.
It wasn't about copyright. HDCP is not about copyright at all. It just protects Blu-ray discs from like piracy. So I guess it is kind of like copyright, but it's not, directly about copy. That's not why they made it.
But at the same but this kind of does bring up a good point about the YouTube gaming community, or at the very least the internet gaming community, is that a lot of people come to conclusions before anything is official or done. This is kind of like going back to the whole Nintendo thing, when somebody was like, oh, Nintendo isn't claiming my videos anymore, and then everyone just kind of got together and said, we did it, guys! Even though nothing was confirmed or officially stated by Nintendo, and some people still have claims on their videos, like me. But I don't hold grudges or anything.
Well, I think that's enough on the PS4 subject. It's going to be a touchy thing until Sony says something, and usually they're pretty good about that. I'll give them that. Usually, if there's been from an outcry, they'll at least tweet something about it, but we'll find out probably within the coming days for sure. And hopefully we can have a happy update on this next week.
Hopefully. Or who knows. Or we might not even talk about it at all if nothing comes up.
Right. Double checking gaming news real fast. I think that's the only real big thing.
Peach was confirmed for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and surprise no one. She's spot number 15. But
I don't know who else is on the full roster. I haven't been paying attention to that at all.
It's like the regular people plus Mega Man, Wii Fit Trainer, and Villager so far.
Okay. Well, I know that there was word going around that they weren't going to have a huge roster this time around, or that not everybody would be coming back.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Which kind of sucks, but at the same time, I can kind of understand it. There was also word going around that they were actually going to split the roster into two, and that one would be on the 3DS version and one would be on the Wii U version.
Yeah, that's false.
That is false.
What they said was that the reason the roster is limited is because they want the same roster on the Wii U and 3DS ones. And the 3DS only
Which is kind of stupid.
Yeah, the 3DS only has so much space on the cartridge. So
honestly, to me, that just sounds kind of stupid, because
it's a cop-out.
It is a cop-out, and the way that console versus portable version works is that the portable version has less, because it's the portable version. you know?
Yeah.
And you put more into the console version to sell the console version. Like, if they're going to have the same roster and all the same exact shit, why bother buying both?
Yep.
It makes no sense to me. And
But
that's all I really have to say about that.
all right, I don't think there's anything else to talk
As far as
about.
gaming news goes.
Gaming news.
But I guess there is one thing I can talk about,
Yes, pretty much a follow up to last week, actually.
which is not really news at all, but I've been playing One Piece Pirate Warriors 2 for, kind of not only practice, but to get everything ready for my for the upcoming project. And I guess I'll just give my first impressions. Now, the important thing to know here is that I'm not super familiar with One Piece as an anime or manga. Not really all that familiar with it at all. I used to briefly watch it for about a couple weeks a few years ago just to check it out, and I liked what I saw, but I never really had the chance to get into it. And so Matt was concerned, not super concerned, but concerned that I probably wouldn't get into this game that much because I don't know the characters, I don't know the story, I don't really know much of anything about it. However, the one thing that we both knew is that I'm a really big fan of the Koei Dynasty Warriors style games. And generally, even if I don't know the subject matter, they're still generally fun games to play. And this proved to be no exception.
Despite IGN's review.
Despite IGN's review, which IGN said that if you're not a fan of One Piece, you're not going to like it, which, gee, that turned out to not be true. I really dig this game. This was a lot of fun. In fact, there were a couple times where I really wanted to play it when I didn't get the chance to, and I actually got kind of pissed off.
Yep.
I really like this game. In fact, it's on my screen right now. It's paused while we're recording this. I really do enjoy it. The characters are really fun to play as, for the most part.
Some way better than others, but that's what I said in the review.
Some way better than others, but still, the music in this game is top notch. Top notch music. Really enjoyable. It's some of it is your typical Koei affair. That generic kind of rock kind of music, like rock metal.
Yep.
But you also get some really snazzy jazz stuff. Namely, the theme that plays when you meet up with the corrupted Straw Hats. That's pretty awesome.
That's a good theme right there.
The story is all right. I mean, it's nothing super deep.
And you can tell it's an original story.
But it's an original story, and it made an effort.
Yep.
And there's a lot of cool characters, a lot of fun characters, and there's a lot to do. You have not only the main story, but you have also what are called character logs, which are basically levels that you play that are extra, like missions.
And that's how you get more support characters.
Yeah, you get more support characters that way. It's a good way to get money, and stuff to build up your characters, like coins. But all in all, I really like it. I'm looking forward to recording the project because I've been having a lot of fun with the game. And as far as the difficulty goes, it's not a hard game at all.
Oh no, it's not.
It's not a hard game at all, with a few exceptions. There's a couple of missions in the game that are difficult, and some of which are bullshit reasons why they're difficult.
Like you have the final boss?
Yeah, like the final boss. The game's not perfect. It's not perfect. There are some translation errors. There are some spelling errors.
And that's totally on the fault of frickin' Bandai's team. And it should not. They should patch that shit out.
Yeah. There's also one really funny moment where another character is talking and they show the wrong picture.
Oh my god. I am Teach. I am the enemy of Whitebeard.
Yeah.
And that was a picture of Ace.
That was pretty funny. But all in all, definitely a great game. Recommend playing it.
Would you say it's worth $50? Considering the content.
Worth the $50? I'd have yeah. I had to think about it for a minute, but yeah, I would. Because you get a lot of characters to play with. You get a lot of maps to work on. You get missions and all that shit, and then
And
you got a
online.
lot to work with, and online. So, I mean, it would $50 is like the maximum I would pay for that.
Yeah.
I really like if this was in the stores for $60, I would wait.
Right.
I
It's still a good
I
game
think
though.
I think a fair price for this would be 40, but 50 is really not a horrible increase.
Yeah, considering you do get a shitload of content. I don't think you've even touched the
Yeah.
challenge maps yet.
Um, I don't know if I have or not either, but there's definitely a lot here, and I'm looking forward to playing it after we're done. But yeah, definitely give this game a thumbs up. If I had to give it our Superplex Brothers rating, so far I'd give it an upper mid card.
All
It's not
right.
perfect, but it's definitely enjoyable.
All right. Well, um, I guess this is the part where we talk about our channels. Not gonna be too much different from last week, but it needs to be done.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. YouTube.com/Iron Fury. Not a hell of a lot of changing. We have to record the One Piece stuff, obviously.
Which I think if I can catch up over the weekend, we can probably start that next week.
Yeah, hopefully. There are some things that have changed in my regular weekly schedule, but at the same time, I don't see why we can't record a little at a time.
And Monday and Tuesdays, they're for my work schedule. They're pretty long shifts, so I don't know if I'll be able to start that. So it'll probably be late next week.
Yeah. But anyway, also Tecmo World Wrestling, I have to continue with that. The videos themselves are done. I just have to put the narrations on, which I just have to find the time to do that.
Right.
And honestly, other than that, I don't really have much in the way of solo projects that I haven't thought of yet. I left a really big post in my Facebook group, but like one person commented on that. So
And they're wanting to see the One Piece stuff.
yeah, I don't. I mean, I have a couple of ideas. I'm not going to share them because I don't want to confirm anything and get people's hopes up. But I did have a couple of ideas, but nothing is set in stone. So that's pretty much all I got there. As I did say last week, Saints Row is on hiatus for a little while. Those episodes do need to get uploaded though that are complete. But
I promise I'll get to those eventually.
yeah, it's just an issue of time and not to mention just all the other stuff we have planned.
Yeah,
My problem with my channel is that I come up with all these ideas and then they don't always go through because shit happens.
like the Super Puzzle Fighter tournament.
Which, yeah, regrettably, I don't
Damn
know what I'm
shame.
doing with. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I honestly don't know. I don't know if I want to just upload the stuff that we have recorded and just kind of call it there, and just say that the tournament's done. I really, really want to get some feedback on that.
I mean, maybe what we should do is, you can upload those and see what feedback to those matches are, and then we can once again, maybe on the weekends, try and organize the other matches, because
Yeah,
and maybe as sad as it sounds, we might have to ditch the losers bracket because that's going to complicate things. But that's a discussion for a different place.
or we could just drop the tournament altogether, which I might do
Yeah, that's also an option.
because it was just a really bad time. This summer was not a good summer for me. A
Right.
lot of shit happened. A lot of shit happened, and I don't want to go into details. Those who need to know what happened. But big shit happened over the summer, and I got super busy.
Right.
And that, that kind of shit just happens, and there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yep.
But that's all I can really say about my channel.
Alright, so over on my channel, it is September still, obviously, so I'm still doing zombie stuff a lot, but I haven't I've basically said my run for the English Pirate Warriors 2 will be Dave's run, so I'll probably be linking that over there constantly because I like the game, but I can't record 2 playthroughs at once because I'm going to get burnt out on it. It's just not possible for me to do that. So if I do English Pirate Warriors 2, it'll be in the far off future, but I already do have a full playthrough of the Japanese version of the game on my channel. So if people really wanted to see the game and what I thought of it, that's where they go to watch that.
Well, not to mention, you're pretty much going to be in charge. It's going to basically be your project on my channel.
Right.
So it kind of already is like, you're doing it, unless you just decide to upload to both your channel and my channel.
I might do that actually. That's actually not a bad idea.
So,
I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Essentially.
yeah.
I have Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix came out this week, and I am doing a complete playthrough of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, but that's a side project because Zombie Month does take a priority. So once again, there's no real set schedule for any side projects like Tomb Raider and like older games. I play them when I play them, and I upload them right afterwards. That's just how I do things. The only things with the set schedule are like ongoing main projects, which would be Lollipop Chainsaw, which there has not been any new content for a few days, but they've been fucking decided it was time to repave the roads outside my house, so it was not prime recording conditions. Luckily, I think they finished that yesterday, so that's no longer an issue. So I can start recording again. So basically, just Lollipop Chainsaw. Two Brothers Play has been canceled, which is a shame because I think my brother was really looking forward to that. But it wasn't my decision. It was our father's decision, based on behavior at school. And there's nothing I can do about that. I have one video that I could probably upload, but besides that, Two Brothers Play is on hold for the foreseeable future, and that kind of sucks for him, me, and people who thought that series was good because it showed that he was an 8-year-old who actually legit liked playing games.
Yeah, weren't those originally like one-offs though, or were you actually planning a full like a whole game
It was
in a
all
series?
one-offs. It was all one-offs, but we were doing like he loves Call of Duty Zombies, and we were gonna do that all September long. But I only got one video out of that before it got canned. So,
Oh,
yep. Once again, out of my hands. Nothing I can really do about that. But that's
yeah.
basically it for my channel. So that's YouTube/user/RMGMDPunk. Check my channel out, please. It's much smaller channel than Dave's here, but my channel is showing daily growth, so I guess I should be pretty appreciative of that. So if you're a subscriber and you're listening to this, thank you for helping the channel grow every day, and I'm definitely not slowing down on content anytime
Indeed,
soon.
indeed, and honestly, of course, we thank everybody who listens to this and everybody who subscribes to our YouTube channels. If it weren't for you guys, we really wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
We probably would be living lives, but we don't because we like that you like us. And my channel is almost at 800 subscribers, and honestly, I never thought I'd see the day. And while 800 is really not that much, it's an accomplishment for me.
Right, and I'm about to hit 200. 200 once again, really, really small. But honestly, comparison to a couple months ago, I was struggling to hit 100. Well, I almost hit another extra 100 in about a month and a half. So I'm pretty happy about that.
And if you think about it, if your subscribers subscribe to me and my subscribers subscribe to you, we'd both be at about 1,000.
Yes, we would. Hint, hint. Get on that shit. But
Indeed.
I think
But we
that's
have
it
no
for this
control of
week.
that, so.
Yep. But I think that's it for this week's SuperPlex Brothers.
Yeah, I really don't have anything else to mention.
Next week will be a big episode, though. We'll get a little bit of a preview for next week because we're talking about Night of Champions.
That's true. Night of Champions, we will have our thoughts on that.
So expect a very big, probably wrestling-dominated episode. Like, probably the first one. Like, wrestling always has a longer segment, but the past two have been kind of more balanced out. But next week, wrestling will probably be super dominant over video games.
Indeed, and who knows, maybe we'll try to do something special for that.
Yep. We'll see.
We'll see. But until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And take care.